Very warm welcome to the programme. I'm Mark Lobel. And it's been confirmed that Apple's quarterly revenue was held back by falling sales of its iPhones and weakness in China. But the company's stock was higher in extended trading after a huge share buyback announcement and dividend increase.
Apple faces a raft of challenges when it comes to its single most important product, the iPhone. Sales dropped 10%. Competition is getting stiffer. Samsung, for example, took the lead in global sales for the first 3 months of the year.
Cupertino, California, WWDC 2024. Tim Cook stands on stage demonstrating Apple Intelligence, the AI that will revolutionize the iPhone. The crowd applauds. Journalists take notes. The demo is flawless, except it's not real. Apple employees would later reveal that most of what was shown on stage was pre-rendered, staged, not running live. The features promised for 2024 pushed to 2025, then 2026. The new Siri, not expected until 2027. And while Apple was selling a future that didn't exist, something unprecedented was happening across America. Users were leaving, switching to Samsung, to Google, to anything that wasn't an iPhone. For the first time in 15 years, iPhone satisfaction hit record lows. Switching rates hit record highs. And the company that once made the world stand still, it's losing itself. This isn't a story about Apple getting weaker. This is about a $3 trillion company that spent $77 billion buying back its own stock while blocking a $10 billion AI chip purchase that could have kept it competitive. This is about a company that raised iPhone prices 30 to 40% in 5 years while delivering almost zero innovation. This is about a company that transformed from an artist into an accountant. And now, America is walking away. Not because they hate Apple, because they miss what Apple used to be. Apple had 90 days of cash left. The most valuable company in the world was teetering on the edge of bankruptcy, held together by a charging cable. Then the iMac appeared, translucent, colorful, more art than machine. It pulled Apple from the emergency room. 2001, the iPod. 1,000 songs in your pocket. A sentence that felt like holding your entire music library for the first time. 2007, the iPhone arrived like a meteor. BlackBerry executives watched the keynote and knew they were finished. Nokia engineers stared in disbelief. Palm scrambled to respond. Within 3 years, all of them were gone. Steve Jobs didn't chase specs. He didn't compete on megapixels or processor speeds. He pursued experience, something intangible but deeply felt. Apple events weren't product launches. They were performances. The audience stood. Some cried. Products didn't just function. They made people dream.
Unlock the phone, I just take my finger and slide it across. Right? You want to see that again? How do I scroll through my list of artists? How do I do this? I just take my finger and I scroll. That's it. So I can just move them further apart and stretch the image. Not cool?
That was Apple's superpower, the ability to turn technology into emotion. But then 2011 happened. Jobs died, and everything changed. When Steve Jobs passed, office buildings across America lit up with the Apple logo. Not to mourn a CEO, to remember the conductor of a symphony. Tim Cook took over. A supply chain genius who transformed Apple from $300 billion to $3 trillion in market value. If Jobs was the composer, Cook was the stage manager who kept everything running perfectly. But a tech company can't survive on operations forever. Apple shifted focus, from innovation to optimization, from product to profit. Strategic meetings prioritized cost-effectiveness and quarterly margins over bold ideas. Engineers describe this phase as replacing the conductor with the chief accountant. Creative personnel left, design teams shrank, finance and marketing gained control. Then came the moment that shocked everyone. Johnny Ive, Apple's chief designer, left the company.
The market spoke yesterday aggressively. $9 billion wiped off Apple's share price. Is that the value of Johnny Ive to the company?
You can certainly see it that way. I think more than anyone other than Steve Jobs, this person was definitional to the Apple as we know it today. He, along with Jobs, was effectively the design duo that put their fingerprints on every major product that you and I probably use today. I think for a long time he's been viewed as the one true indispensable person inside that company. And so to see him actually leave it both feels like a long time coming and still a shock to the system.
Yeah. I want you to take a look at this graphic. Jony Ive came up with a lot of the products that a lot of people around the world, including myself, have come to love and use. And he basically was able to take, hardcore technology and, some of the devices that we were used to sitting in our offices and bring them into our hands. I mean, from the iPods to the Apple Watch and just even the AirPods, so to speak. The question is, did they reach a peak and have they reached a peak in terms of design? And maybe it was a good time for Jony Ive to leave. And I guess the question is he replaceable? I mean, what more could another designer do to make technology a lot more accessible?
It's funny, I once had a boss who told me that no one is ever actually irreplaceable, but I think he's about as close as one could come to it. If you think about the 20 years that you just showed there, he took the company effectively from the brink of bankruptcy to becoming the first trillion-dollar business through a remarkable streak of greatly designed products. That said, in recent years, all of the reporting has suggested he's stepped away a little bit day by day, and I think as a consumer for the next few years, it probably won't mean much of a change for you. A lot of Apple's products are designed well ahead of time, and so a lot of the pipeline is probably already there. But as you look forward to the next decade of the company, it's clearly going to look a lot different, not just screens, but other technically difficult products.
And a CFO from Boeing joined the board. This wasn't substitution. This was DNA replacement. User comments appeared like early warnings. Pro now means profit. Apple no longer has Jobs' soul. But those warnings were ignored because the numbers looked good. Revenue climbed, stocks soared, shareholders celebrated. And while everyone watched the stock price, nobody noticed the cracks forming underneath. For nearly 10 years, Americans noticed something disturbing. New iPhones looked identical to old ones. Every launch followed the same script. 0.2 millimeters thinner, camera 17% better, processor slightly faster. That's not innovation. That's iteration. Like repainting a house and calling it new architecture. One user wrote, "The iPhone Air is like a folding phone, but it only folds in half." Behind the joke was truth. Apple stopped leading. Samsung folded, unfolded, stretched the future. Google turned cameras into AI powerhouses. The iPhone? Stuck. A veteran athlete left behind on the track. Then came the price increases. iPhones jumped 30 to 40% in 5 years. A monitor stand cost $990. Mac Pro wheels cost $500. Apple Pencil only worked with specific models. Accessories fragmented. Wallets emptied. Users felt nickeled and dimed. When people feel undervalued, trust breaks. And once trust breaks, loyalty follows. The ecosystem became a cage. The App Store maintained a 30% tax. The EU fined Apple $8 billion for anti-competitive practices. Developers fled to open platforms. The ecosystem that once felt like magic now felt like prison. A luxury apartment with too many locks. Beautiful, but suffocating. Americans began asking, why should I stay if I no longer feel free? ChatGPT appeared and rewrote the rules overnight. Google launched Gemini. Microsoft deployed Copilot. Samsung built Galaxy AI. Meta released Llama. Companies raced to transform smartphones into intelligent assistants that think, predict, support. Meanwhile, Siri, launched in 2011, remained unchanged. One comment captured everything. I haven't used Siri once in 10 years. If competitors were driving electric self-driving cars, Siri was an FM radio making noise nobody understood.
I hope it happens again. Shh. Hey Siri, what is plasma in blood?
According to Wikipedia.org, blood plasma and
WWDC 2024 promised redemption. Apple Intelligence would be the new AI heart of the iPhone. Users expected Apple's return to form, the iPhone moment of this generation. But behind the curtain, chaos reigned. Internal reports revealed most AI features weren't ready. Demos were pre-rendered, not live. Features promised for 2024 pushed to 2025, then 2026. The new Siri? Not expected until 2027 at earliest. Apple sold movie tickets while the script was still being written. iPhone 16 launched heavily promoted as the AI iPhone. Users bought it, then discovered Siri had a new interface but the same limitations. Most AI features locked, non-functional, notification summaries malfunctioned so badly Apple suspended them. Comments flooded in. If Steve were alive, he'd change everything. Apple sells promises, not features. Galaxy AI works now. Apple told me to wait 2 years. This was worse than being slow. This was betrayal. By 2025, Americans weren't leaving for one reason. They left for 5 simultaneous failures. The cool factor vanished. Gen Z wanted foldable screens and instant AI. The iPhone remained a rectangle as predictable as a photocopier schedule. One user wrote, "When you unfold a Galaxy Fold at dinner, everyone gasps. When you take out an iPhone, nobody reacts." In American culture, cool can't be manufactured through marketing. It comes from novelty, and Apple lost that. Prices skyrocketed while innovation flatlined. 30 to 40% increases for incremental changes.
Everywhere we look, we see iPhones, and chances are you're watching this video on one, but pretty soon you'll be watching videos like this on an Android phone. Here's why. Apple has dominated the smartphone market for years, especially in the places like the US and China, and their yearly releases create massive hype, with customers literally camping out for pre-orders. But this year, something's different. iPhone 16 pre-orders have been, well, disappointing. Even in China, where iPhones typically sell out fast, the demand is completely gone. And some retailers are already offering discounts just weeks after launch. So what's actually going on? Take a look at these iPhones. Do you notice something? Nothing is changing. Also, Apple has delayed releasing some AI-powered features which Android phones currently offer. The price gap between iPhones and Androids continue to grow, and Android's always allowed for more flexibility in terms of software customization. But it's not just about phones. Apple's stock price could take a hit too. Analysts are starting to lower forecasts as demand drops, so who knows, your next phone might just be an Android.
Pro Max versions more expensive, but barely different. Users asked, "Am I paying for innovation or a logo?" Meanwhile, competitors accelerated. Galaxy AI translated conversations instantly. Pixel AI summarized articles and edited photos in seconds. Siri struggled with basic questions. Americans didn't switch because they hated Apple. They switched because they wanted phones smarter than them, not dumber. Samsung created the wow factor Apple lost. Opening a Galaxy Fold in public generated the reaction iPhones once did in 2007. Google built practical AI that worked immediately. No waiting, no promises, just functionality. The market shifted. iPhones represented the past.
It's very frustrating that you can't just go back and forth, that they've created this walled garden with Apple. Because, like, one thing that Android does that's really good is they're always the first with, like, foldables. They're the first with crazy zoom lenses. They're the first with... They figure out everything first. They have way better screen real estate. There's much more screen to an Android phone than there is to an iPhone. You know that stupid fucking, what is that thing in the top that nobody really cares about?
Right, the island.
The island?
Yeah.
Get out of here with your island. Who's using that island?
AI phones represented the future, and America moved with that wave. Apple is simultaneously invincible and fragile. A giant ship with a steel hull but loosening bolts inside. The ecosystem still works. iMessage dominates America. MacBooks lead in stability. AirPods define wireless audio. Apple services generate steady revenue. The brand remains stronger than concrete. It may shake, but it's nearly impossible to topple. Apple has never been weak, but strength isn't the question. Direction is. Apple blocked $10 billion in AI chip purchases, spent $77 billion buying back stock instead, prioritized shareholders over innovation, finance over creativity. The accountant beat the artist, and now the bill is due. Americans aren't abandoning Apple because they hate it. They're leaving because they remember what it used to be. Creative, bold, leading. They want that Apple back. The one that created things they didn't know they needed. The one that made them dream. Can Apple recover? Yes, but not by optimizing profit margins. Recovery requires rediscovering the creative compass lost in 2011. It means making Siri truly intelligent, not just redesigning the interface. Competing with Gemini and Galaxy AI, not promising features 3 years away.